What if the best place to live in America in 2026 isn't New York, isn't California, and isn't even on most top cities lists? Millions of Americans are quietly leaving big, expensive metros, not because they failed, but because the old American dream stopped working. Today, the smartest moves aren't about chasing the biggest paycheck. They're about finding cities where life actually feels livable again. And by the end of this video, you might realize the place you should be moving to isn't where you thought it was. Number 10, Madison, Wisconsin. Madison isn't loud, it doesn't trend on social media, and it doesn't try to impress anyone. But in 2026, that's exactly why it works. While many American cities feel overstretched, too expensive, too crowded, too stressful, Madison quietly delivers something people are desperately searching for: balance that actually feels real. Built between two lakes, the city's natural setting isn't a luxury, it's part of everyday life. Morning walks along the water, bike-friendly streets, and neighborhoods that still feel human-sized create a rhythm that's missing in bigger metros. Life here doesn't feel rushed, and that alone has become a major advantage. Madison's economy is stable rather than speculative. Education, healthcare, and technology anchor the job market, providing consistent employment without the boom and bust cycles seen elsewhere. Salaries may not sound flashy, but they align far better with living costs. A reality. More Americans are prioritizing in 2026. Housing remains competitive, but it hasn't crossed into the completely unrealistic zone. Compared to major coastal cities, owning a home here still feels achievable rather than mythical. Renters also benefit from neighborhoods that retain character instead of turning into anonymous developments. What truly sets Madison apart is its sense of community. People still show up, local businesses still matter, and daily life feels connected instead of transactional. Madison doesn't promise everything, but it delivers enough. And for many people in 2026, that's exactly the point. Number 9, Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville attracts a very specific kind of person, someone who values beauty, creativity, and environment, but doesn't want isolation or chaos. Surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains, Asheville offers immediate access to nature that feels immersive, not distant. Hiking trails, scenic drives, and changing seasons shape everyday life here. Nature isn't a weekend escape, it's part of the lifestyle. But Asheville isn't just about scenery. The city has a strong creative identity. Music, art, food, and local culture aren't marketing slogans. They're embedded in how the city functions. That creative energy gives Asheville a sense of personality many fast-growing cities lack. In 2026, Asheville continues to benefit from remote work trends. Professionals who no longer need to live near corporate offices are choosing environments that support well-being. That shift has strengthened Asheville's economy without fully overwhelming its character. Housing costs have risen over the years, and affordability is a real conversation. But compared to other mountain towns or coastal destinations, Asheville still offers relative value, especially for people prioritizing lifestyle over square footage. Asheville isn't designed for everyone, but for those who crave a slower rhythm without losing stimulation, it offers something deeply satisfying. Number 8, Fort Collins, Colorado. Fort Collins is often overlooked, and that's part of its strength. Located near the Rocky Mountains, the city offers incredible outdoor access without the intensity of larger Colorado metros. Trails, open spaces, and bike paths are integrated into daily life, not treated as tourist features. But Fort Collins isn't just about scenery. In 2026, its economy is supported by education, research, clean energy, and a growing technology presence. That combination creates opportunity without the volatility that defines many tech-heavy cities. What truly sets Fort Collins apart is how intentionally it has grown. Infrastructure has kept pace with population increases, traffic remains manageable, Neighborhoods feel planned rather than reactive. Public spaces are used, not neglected. The cost of living is higher than it once was, but it remains far more rational than nearby alternatives. Many residents see Fort Collins as a long-term lifestyle, investment rather than a temporary compromise. For people who want access to opportunity without constant pressure, Fort Collins quietly delivers. And in 2026, that balance is increasingly rare. Number 7. Savannah, Georgia. Savannah offers something many modern cities no longer do: atmosphere, tree-lined streets, historic architecture, and a strong sense of place define daily life here. But Savannah isn't frozen in the past. In 2026, it continues to evolve while protecting the identity that makes it special. The city's economy is diverse. Tourism plays a role, but it's supported by port activity, healthcare, education, and a growing creative sector. Remote workers are also choosing Savannah, drawn by affordability and character rather than status. Housing remains relatively accessible compared to other coastal cities. Buyers and renters still find neighborhoods that feel lived in rather than overdeveloped. That authenticity matters more than ever as people move away from cookie-cutter environments. Savannah's pace is slower, but intentional. People aren't rushing through life here. They're settling into it. And for Americans burned out by constant urgency, that shift is powerful. Savannah doesn't chase trends. It preserves rhythm. And in 2026, that rhythm feels increasingly valuable. Number 6. Boulder, Colorado. Boulder represents a different vision of American living, one built around health, environment, and long-term thinking. Surrounded by open space and dramatic natural scenery, Boulder integrates the outdoors into daily routines. Morning hikes, bike commutes, and outdoor gatherings aren't hobbies, they're normal. In 2026, Boulder continues to attract people who want more than a paycheck-driven lifestyle. Research, education, and clean technology anchor the local economy, creating stable, high-skill employment. While housing costs are undeniably high, incomes tend to be resilient, reducing financial volatility. What makes Boulder stand out isn't just beauty, it's intention. Growth is controlled. Public spaces are protected. Community standards are high. The city prioritizes sustainability not as a trend, but as a long-term strategy. Boulder isn't cheap, and it doesn't pretend to be. It attracts people who are willing to invest in balance, health, and quality of life. And for the right person, that trade-off makes sense. Number 5, Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston doesn't feel like a city that's trying to prove something. It feels like a city that already knows who it is. In 2026, that confidence matters. Many fast-growing cities expand so quickly that they lose their identity. Charleston has grown, but it has done so with restraint. Historic streets, coastal views, and a strong cultural backbone still shape everyday life. Living here feels layered. Mornings might start with a walk near the water. Afternoons move at a steady, unhurried pace. Evenings often revolve around food, conversation, and community rather than constant noise. That rhythm attracts people who want richness without overload. Charleston's economy is more diverse than it appears from the outside. Healthcare, education, logistics, and port-related industries provide stability, while remote work continues to bring in professionals from higher-cost metros. This combination has strengthened the local economy without completely reshaping it. Housing prices have risen, but Charleston still offers more value than many comparable coastal cities. Buyers can choose between historic neighborhoods, suburban communities, and newer developments, each with a distinct feel. For many, the trade-off feels worth it. What draws people to Charleston isn't just the beauty. It's the feeling that life here has texture, not just motion. Number 4, Boise, Idaho. Boise has quietly become one of the most talked about cities in America. And in 2026, it's proving that attention wasn't temporary. For years, Boise flew under the radar. Then people started arriving. Families, professionals, remote workers, all looking for something they couldn't find in larger metros. What they found was space, simplicity, and opportunity without constant pressure. Boise's economy has grown steadily, supported by technology, manufacturing, healthcare, and professional services. Unlike cities that expanded too fast, Boise managed growth without overwhelming infrastructure. Traffic remains manageable. Neighborhoods still feel personal. Daily life feels navigable. The city's layout contributes to that sense of ease. Downtown is active but not chaotic. Parks and green spaces are integrated into neighborhoods. Outdoor access feels immediate rather than distant. Housing prices surged in earlier years, and affordability became a concern. But by 2026, the market has stabilized. Compared to West Coast cities, Boise still feels accessible, especially for people planning to put down long-term roots rather than chase short-term appreciation. Boise appeals to people who want room to breathe. In an era where many cities feel compressed and exhausting, that openness carries real value. Number 3, Portland, Maine. Portland, Maine isn't flashy, and that's exactly why it belongs near the top of this list. In 2026, many Americans are turning away from spectacle and towards substance. Portland delivers that shift in a quiet, confident way. Coastal charm, walkable neighborhoods, and a strong sense of local culture shape daily life here. The city feels intentional. Streets are designed for people, not just traffic. Local businesses dominate over chains. The waterfront isn't just scenic. It's functional and deeply tied to the city's identity. Portland's economy is stable rather than explosive. Healthcare, education, tourism, and remote work form a balanced foundation. While winters are colder, many residents see that as a fair trade for reduced congestion, stronger community bonds, and a slower pace of life. Housing costs have increased, but Portland remains more approachable than major East Coast metros. The market tends to attract people seeking permanence, not speculation, which helps preserve neighborhood character. What makes Portland stand out is how grounded it feels. Life here isn't about constant reinvention. It's about consistency, connection, and belonging. At this stage in the countdown, a clear truth emerges. The cities rising to the top aren't trying to be everything to everyone. They're not chasing endless growth or non-stop excitement. Instead, they focus on livability, places where daily life feels manageable, meaningful, and sustainable. These cities appeal to people who have reached a turning point, people who are less interested in chasing status and more interested in building a life that actually works. And now we move into the final 2. These aren't just good places to live. They represent what the new American dream is becoming in 2026. Number 2, San Luis Obispo, California. San Luis Obispo doesn't try to compete with California's biggest cities. It quietly avoids their mistakes. In 2026, that distinction matters more than ever. Located between Los Angeles and San Francisco, San Luis Obispo offers proximity without pressure. People here aren't fighting traffic for hours or structuring their lives around congestion. The city moves at a measured pace, one that feels intentional rather than outdated. Nature isn't an accessory here, it's embedded in daily life. Beaches, rolling hills, hiking trails, and open skies shape the rhythm of the city. You don't have to plan escapes, you live inside them. The local economy is diverse and steady. Education, healthcare, tuberals, and for tourism, agriculture, and small businesses provide stability without speculative growth. Jobs here don't promise overnight wealth, but they support a sustainable lifestyle. That predictability has become a major advantage as economics. Uncertainty continues elsewhere. Housing is expensive, but notably more rational than much of coastal California. Buyers tend to be long-term residents rather than short-term investors. That creates neighborhoods with continuity, pride, and real community involvement. What truly defines San Luis Obispo is livability, walkable streets, clean air, a strong sense of local identity. People still talk to each other. Public spaces feel cared for. Life feels balanced. San Luis Obispo appeals to people who've already learned an important lesson. Status fades. Quality of life doesn't. Number 1. Burlington, Vermont. Burlington takes the top spot not because it's the biggest, fastest, or most glamorous city in America, but because in 2026 it delivers something increasingly rare, a life that feels grounded. Set along Lake Champlain with the Green Mountains rising in the distance, Burlington's natural beauty isn't dramatic for attention. It's calming by design. Outdoor access shapes daily routines. Walking, biking, and community gatherings aren't trends. They're part of the culture. But Burlington's strength goes deeper than scenery. The city's economy is built on education, healthcare, clean energy, and small businesses. While salaries aren't extreme, they align more closely with lifestyle expectations. People here tend to work to live, not the other way around. Housing remains competitive, but Burlington has resisted unchecked development. Neighborhoods feel cohesive rather than fragmented. Local businesses still matter. Community involvement isn't performative. It's normal. What truly sets Burlington apart is how human-scaled life feels. People know their neighbors. Public spaces are respected. Growth is thoughtful rather than aggressive. In 2026, sustainability isn't just environmental, it's social and economic. Burlington understands that balance better than most cities in America. It doesn't promise everything, it promises enough. And for millions of Americans who feel exhausted by excess, pressure, and instability, that promise feels powerful. Across this entire list, one reality becomes impossible to ignore. The definition of the American dream is changing. For decades, success meant bigger cities, higher salaries, faster lives, and constant growth. But in 2026, many Americans are stepping back and asking a different question. Not, how much can I make? But how do I want my life to feel? The cities on this list don't offer perfection. They offer alignment. Alignment between income and cost, between opportunity and peace, between ambition and well-being. These places attract people who are no longer chasing the loudest version of success, but the most sustainable one. And that shift is reshaping where people live, how they work, and what they value. If you're watching this because you feel stuck, burned out, priced out, or simply unsure whether your current city still fits your life, you're not alone. Millions of Americans are quietly rethinking everything. And the places you've seen in this video represent something important, a future where life feels manageable again, where community matters, where daily routines don't feel like survival, where success isn't measured only by money, but by peace, time, and connection. That future isn't hypothetical. It's already happening. And for those willing to rethink the old dream, these cities show what the new one looks like.